Gregor, thank you for that introduction, and thank you for all you do for the Global Covenant and for all you did in your time as mayor of Vancouver. You were a real leader fighting climate change and making your city better and more livable, and we appreciate that. You're a role model for all of us. I always say no one is more capable of bringing change on issues than mayors. Mayors are on the front line, and you really see the effects of what they do, and the voters expect you to act. Cities, as you know, face the biggest risks from climate change. 9 of the world's 10 largest cities are located in coastal areas, and city leaders also realize that fighting climate change and spurring economic growth go hand in hand. People want to live in places with wide open parks, clean air, and reliable mass transit, and where people want to live, businesses want to invest and put down roots. So it's no surprise that mayors and cities are leading the way in confronting the climate change crisis. Cities account for the majority of the world's population and the majority of carbon emissions. So what mayors do at the city level has a big impact, and when we work together as part of a global effort, that impact has the power to stop climate change in its tracks. In the U.S., there are hundreds of mayors who are taking climate action and who are working to uphold America's commitment under the Paris Climate Agreement. And we want the world to know that Americans are continuing to lead on climate change, even with a climate denier in the White House. Now, the reason I'm here in Madrid is very simple. I'm here because President Trump is not. I'm here because his administration refuses to lead on climate change, and so others must do the work. To confront the greatest threat facing humanity, it's going to take a global response. And that means not just mayors, but elected officials at every level, in every party, and private sector leaders from around the world, all working together. Bloomberg Philanthropies, I'm happy to say, has helped launch the Global Covenant a few years ago because we're strong believers in facing facts and collaborating to solve our biggest problems. And I believe that we have a responsibility to do everything we can to reverse the effects of climate change. Over the past 3 years, we've had a productive partnership with the European Commission and Vice President Šefčovič, and today the Global Covenant is the world's largest international alliance of cities committed to fighting climate change. More than 10,000 cities and mayors have signed up and committed to help meet the goals of the Paris Agreement. These cities represent 6 continents, 139 countries, and more than 800 million people. We've added 1,000 signatories in this year alone, and the potential impact that the Global Covenant can have or has in terms of annual emission reductions has grown by 60%. That's the equivalent of closing 1,000 coal-fired power plants every single year. So we've made a tremendous amount of progress, not just in building out this coalition, but in implementing real solutions. We've mobilized and supported cities to aim higher with their climate initiatives and to work together across borders. We've built new tools and set a new set of standards for data sharing, helping cities measure and report their climate progress in a transparent and consistent way. That allows cities to see what works best, and which in turn helps them to provide strategies to show let proven strategies spread. It also creates a body of evidence for investors so they feel confident their investments will show positive returns. We've helped cities get the funding they need for urgent climate-related projects by building partnerships with the private sector and multilateral development banks like the European Investment Bank, who are with us today, and we work with companies and governments to deliver critical research and the latest climate innovation. But we know we still have much more to do, so there's new evidence every day that the climate crisis is only getting worse, and that should redouble our efforts. Our children's future really is at stake, and we have an obligation to act now. We just cannot postpone any longer. And that's why I'm happy to announce that we are recommitting to city-driven climate action along with the European Commission and beginning the next phase for a global covenant of mayors for climate and energy. I think we have the right person to help lead us in these efforts and take on the role of co-chair. Executive Vice President Frans Timmermans is a proven leader in the fight against climate change with a record of getting things done. He currently spearheads Europe's efforts on climate action as the Executive Vice President for the European Green Deal. And while he's been in that role for only 9 days, he's already putting forward an ambitious and proactive plan for confronting this crisis head-on. With him at the helm as co-chair, I have full faith that the Global Covenant will continue to bring together cities and drive progress all around the world. I look forward to working with him and all of you to do exactly that. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our new co-chair, Executive Vice President Timmermans.